Hello, everyone. Today we're going to show you the Pentaho software platform. We're going to focus on getting data into Hadoop, processed, and out of Hadoop into some visualizations so you can monetize your data quicker and not have to deal with some of the hard tools that are native to the Hadoop world, such as Hive and Pig. Please know that this can also be applied to other areas of big data sources such as MongoDB, Splunk, and even other traditional data sources such as Enterprise Data Warehouse or even a CSV or Excel spreadsheet. Brian's going to take you through that now.
Great, thanks, Tim. So what we're looking at here is an orchestration which goes from loading data into Hadoop, processing the data, and then loading up a Hive table for analysis. The first two steps are simply calling out to other transformations that are pre-processing the data, cleaning up that data, and then copying it into Hadoop. The next one is copying some more reference files from the local file system into HDFS. And this just illustrates the ability to speak HDFS, if you will, in a number of different steps in the environment here. Now, diving a little deeper on this step, this is Pentaho Visual MapReduce. Effectively, this is your MapReduce driver. And so we can configure in what transformation should be employed when running the mappers. And so this Movie Lens MapReduce transformation will actually execute in every single mapper that runs. I have that queued up in another tab up here, and we'll look at that in just a minute. You can configure the combiner and the reducer in the same way. We also set up our job so that we can tell it where the input directory is, where is the input data, and where should the output be written to in HDFS. Then finally, we have the location of Hadoop and specifically the job tracker. And when this executes, two things happen. First, we actually distribute our engine through the Hadoop distributed cache, and therefore it gets distributed out to all of the nodes in the cluster. And then second, we pass along the transformation instructions to be used in the mapper and in the reducer. Now moving into what the mapper transformation logic looks like, this is actually movie rating data. And so we're taking in key value pairs, which are basically lines of weblog information. We're going to parse that up using a regular expression step. And then we're doing some further processing. We're filtering out the bad records. So for movie ratings, if the rating is null or the movie ID is null or the user is null, it's not going to be useful for our analysis. So we throw those away. Everything else moves forward. We're doing a few lookups here. We copied some reference files into HDFS. And so we're actually looking up more demographic information about the user, the household income and their zip code, et cetera, et cetera. We do some date calculations to further clean up, and in the end, we're outputting a nicely structured pipe-delimited format, which will then be written out to HDFS. And then finally, we check that our Hive table, we check if it exists already. If not, we create that table using our SQL step, then load the data we just processed. At that point, a user can come into the business user console and set up a connection to that data source. And so the first thing we want to do is set up a JDBC connection to either Hive or Impala, depending on your distribution of Hadoop. And then we can go through the data source wizard, which is a 2 or 3 step wizard that allows you to define your measures, your dimensions, and any hierarchies that you want to have available for analysis. I'll spare you the details on that for now. But once that has been done, any user can come in and create a new analysis report. I'm going to choose my data source, in this case, Movie Lens. And the model will show up on the left-hand side. So I've got a number of measures here, such as the number of ratings, number of users, and I'm going to pull in the occupation for analysis, cross-tab that by age group. And so now I've got kind of a lot of data I might want to start analyzing. This is a pretty powerful tool, by the way, so being able to do things like conditional formatting or setting up user-defined measures, trends, calculated measures, et cetera. There's a lot of capability here. In the end, I really want to get to a visualization. So I'm going to switch this to a heat grid, and now I'm starting to really get some quick insight into what are outliers in this data. can save that off in my repository, and ultimately I can go ahead and create a new dashboard, for example, one that might ultimately look like this, a prompted dashboard, which in this case is passing the age group into each of these 4 panes that you see so that you can get an interactive query across a number of different dimensions right against the data that's inside Hadoop.
Thanks, Brian. So as you saw today, we were able to take the power of Pentaho and the platform that we give our customers and able to use a powerful ETL tool, a fantastic analysis platform, and great visualizations in order to get data into Hadoop quicker, out, and into end users' hands in order to be able to monetize that data. As we said earlier, we also have the capabilities to do this for other big data sources such as MongoDB, Splunk, and even traditional data sources such as enterprise data warehouses, Excel spreadsheets, and even CSVs.